You're listening to Three Kitchens, a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. Join your hosts, Erin Walker, Sarah Somasundaram, and Heather Dyer. Guess what they're cooking now?
With Pod Power, our sponsors are making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters. This episode, Edmonton Community Foundation is helping us give a Pod Power shout out to Your Forest, is a podcast about the natural world.
Hearing stories about the environment, renewable resources, conservation, forestry, hunting, fishing, and more. This is a podcast for those who cannot live without the joys and wonders of all wild things.
Find Your Forest wherever you get your podcasts or at yourforestpodcast.com. That's yourforestpodcast.com.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Three Kitchens podcast. I am here with Heather.
Hello.
And Erin.
Hello.
And we are joined by our fellow APN Alberta Podcast Network podcasters. We're excited to have them on this episode. So welcome Avery and Lena from Mess Hall Podcast.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
It's really awesome to see you guys.
Well, we just saw you guys yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For an Mess Hall Podcast episode. So
Yeah.
Saw you guys yesterday, and I have been binging your podcast. It's like Saturday, so I feel like we've spent a lot of time together.
Right.
Yeah.
Like friends. Like,
well, I'm glad you turned up then and didn't get sick of us and turned up today.
I want to hear them all. You know, when you get into a new podcast and you want to hear them all, and you just like, I kind of want to listen to parts of it so that I can like experience them all and then go and listen to the whole things. I don't know if other people feel this way, like, because I don't listen necessarily to podcasts from beginning to end. I pick and choose one category and then go back and
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. We've been listening to yours too.
Yeah.
It'd be like, hey, why is there this bump to like listening downloads of our old episodes? That might be us.
Exactly. So did you want to give our listeners a synopsis of your podcast and what you do and where they can find you?
So we do a food podcast, a little bit different than your guys's. Like, we don't usually do homemade cooking based around mostly packaged foods, stuff that we find in the store. Usually a lot of candy, chips, a lot of Kit Kats.
Mm-hmm.
junk food.
Yeah, and sometimes we do savory foods as well. I think we have some ideas for savory foods coming up, I hope.
Ooh.
We have a lot of fun doing it, and sometimes we have guests on. So, like I said, you three were over yesterday. And we recorded an episode, so I'm looking forward to that. And
Pie day.
yeah, and that's what it usually is. We take our own little spin on a theme. So with everybody here, we did Pie Day, and Pop-Tarts isn't usually a pie associated with pie, but we fit it into the podcast somehow. And that's basically what we do. And you can find our podcast anywhere. We have it on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify,
Our website.
Yeah. Our website, messhallpodcast.com, which has not been updated in probably about a year or two. messhallpodcast.podbean.com. That's where you can find our latest episodes and a little bit about us as well. So
nice.
Excellent. Yeah, that Pie Day episode, all that's done is made me want to make all the pies.
Yeah. Inspiring, right?
I want to make a cherry pie. I want to make the lemon meringue pie we were talking about.
Sweet potato pie. That tea was delicious.
Well, I went home and I made sweet potato muffins, actually.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't Google homemade Pop-Tart recipes. Nope, that wasn't me.
No.
And then I was like, it's for the kids. Oh, it's not just the kids.
you can make one giant Pop-Tart if you have a sheet pan big enough as well. So
Oh.
I've seen
Don't tempt me. No.
Again.
Good, but homemade ones even better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Well, we think most homemade stuff is better, but that's not always the case.
There's some things that can't be recreated at home for
Mhm.
sure.
There have been a few tries with that on our podcast.
Coming up this week, we're
Mhm.
celebrating St. Patrick's Day. And
We
so
are.
we are doing a St. Patrick's Day food themed podcast with the mess hall.
We're bringing the pub home.
That's right.
Because we're a little bit older, we're a little bit wiser.
Oh,
Don't do the
this
same
is sounding
things.
depressing.
Just a little bit, I said, a little. So, we don't really go to the pubs anymore and drink green beer. So instead of doing that, we can celebrate at home.
Yes, we can. This is the best way to celebrate.
Yes. In your jammies.
With food and your jammies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We all made some version of either pub food or St. Patrick's Day inspired
Yes,
food.
Mhm.
None of it was green.
None of it was green.
that's true.
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't really think about it until just now. Yeah.
some green in some
And
of
the
the stuff.
Pakora
Yeah.
said-
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I suppose so.
Small
yeah,
bits
but
of green.
Bits of
wasn't really the
green.
point of it. There was no dye involved.
Okay, so something that does turn green on St. Patrick's
Uh-oh.
Day. I'm sure
Okay.
everyone knows about it. Chicago's Green River. Are we all
Mhm.
aware of this?
Mhm.
And so I just
Mhm.
learned that this is a tradition that began in 1961. And so apparently they used to put some sort of fluorescent dye into the river to detect leaks and pollution. And one of the plumbers said, hey, instead of just putting a bit of this in, we should put like a whole bunch in the river and dye it green for St. Patrick's Day.
'Cause why not?
Because why not? They put in 100 pounds of dye in the river and it was green for a week.
Wow.
So today now they only put 40 pounds in and it keeps the river green for about 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
It does look really cool.
It looks crazy.
does.
So crazy.
I was going to say, how else do the fish know it's St. Patrick's Day if they
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're drinking their version of green beer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't want to eat any of the fish in that river anyway.
Yeah.
But what do those fish look like on the inside after enduring years of that?
I'm going to follow up on what you just said
Okay.
because I read up a little bit more about that.
Mm.
I guess the recipe for the food dye is, or the river dye, I guess, is guarded by a family called Butler and Rowan. And so apparently they've got this whole recipe and this vegetable dye and they don't share it with anyone. And they're the ones who continue this tradition now.
Why does it need to be a big secret?
So that only Chicago can do it.
Maybe they get paid for it. Who knows?
There's two secrets in the States: dyeing rivers and KFC.
Yeah, isn't that right?
They should
Uh-huh.
somehow work it out so they can make it rainbow for Pride Parade.
Ooh.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So, other traditions, I'm just going to mention one is also from the States, Wisconsin, New London, Wisconsin. And apparently, people of the city on St. Paddy's Day dress up like leprechauns and they go around changing road signs to say New Dublin all over the city.
Nice.
That's kind of cute.
That is.
Silly, but
That
like
sounds like vandalism. That's
That sounds like a lot of work.
Somebody's got to clean that up after.
yeah, that is, yeah, I don't know who does that.
Spoken like a parent. I'm just like, oh, what mother has to go and clean that up?
That'd be so fun to like see leprechauns sort of running around the city. Be cute.
Is it kind of like seeing people dressed in Stampede gear though at Stampede?
not
After a
cute.
while it gets
I don't know
less
if that's
cute.
cute.
Maybe.
That's not really cute.
Maybe if they were dressed as like a cowboy leprechaun. That
Ooh.
Throwing out gold coins.
Mm.
from a bucking horse.
Oh, this is getting more and more fun.
Is that a Stampede tradition or a St. Patrick's Day tradition?
We should start our own holiday. This sounds all inclusive.
I came up with International Lena Day before, but it never caught on.
Oh,
Keep trying.
yeah. I did look up green beer and how it came about. I don't know, you guys have probably heard this story, but apparently the first person who wanted to make beer green used a laundry whitener They call it blue. It's to make white laundry whiter.
Right.
When you put that blue into
no.
the beer, because beer is sort of an amber color, it turned it green.
Right.
Gross, right? Like, I don't
No
think that's
thanks.
healthy.
And they drank it?
Yeah, they drank it. Apparently, it didn't harm anyone. But I mean, who's
Sorry,
to say?
when was this? Is it that generation's Tide Pod challenge?
Yeah, I was just going to say the Tide Pod challenge.
I would say like 100 years ago or more.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
see, when older people say younger people are idiots for doing that, they have no rights anymore. No rights to say that.
You drank soap too.
Yeah, pretty gross.
Do you have any fun traditions or stories around St. Patrick's Day?
I've blanked them all out. I blacked them all out. Blackened them all out. Yeah.
It's hazy. Well, you guys said that you both used to work on St. Patty's Day mainly, right? You both
Yeah,
worked at restaurants?
I've worked in some Irish pubs growing up, so I've seen a lot of Irish stuff in Nova Scotia. Mostly just wearing green a lot for us. Yeah, and just drinking. I don't have any real traditions, so
Well, now we can add pub food into the
Yes.
tradition.
that's a good tradition.
Starts now.
Yeah.
So I sent my husband out. I said, go get a couple cans of really nice beer that screams St. Patty's Day to you, because I know nothing about beer. And he got a Guinness Hop House Lager and a Guinness Blonde. And then he handed it to me and he said, okay, it's Guinness. And I said, frankly, I don't know why they would want to mess with perfection, but apparently they've made these two extra. So I don't know what you guys thought about it or if you've tried it as yet.
We have tried it. I actually I read the side of the cans, the 13 hops one, and it was interesting. Just different breweries want to try different things,
Right.
going outside the traditional Guinness ways. That's just summing it up. So they came up with this. So it was all right. It had a nice bittery taste if you're into that.
Right.
Hoppy. So and it was brewed in Ireland, or I think it was brewed in Dublin, Ireland. And that
Right.
interesting.
And the other one was Maryland. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and the Guinness Blonde was brewed in Baltimore.
Oh,
So-
yeah, it says it on the
Oh,
label. I
that's
can see
right.
that.
I actually don't like Guinness, but I liked these. I liked the blonde a lot.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Good, good.
I find Guinness a
Mm.
little bitter for my liking, but this
Okay.
blonde, the hop house was a little more bitter than the blonde, and I liked the blonde, but it was just a little bit of bitter at the end. But it had kind of a nice citrusy flavor.
Oh,
I'm
good.
from Nova Scotia. First, kind of like an upscale Keith's.
Right.
And a little bitter
Right.
at the end.
Yeah, I thought the Guinness Blonde was really good too. I like that more than the other one, but
Okay.
they were both good. I'm not going to say no to a beer. So
I personally would say no to a traditional Guinness.
I love Guinness.
That's some harsh stuff, in my opinion.
Have you ever had Guinness and Strongbow mixed together?
yes, as a royal float.
Yeah, that's really yummy.
Yeah, I used to have those at Maxwell Plums in Halifax a lot, so it was really good. I liked it.
When we first met.
Aw.
Aw.
It's an Irish story
All of
over
our
Guinness.
stories have alcohol in them.
Erin, why don't you start with your chicken?
All right. So I made some chicken fingers, which then my husband told me is not pub food. And I completely disagreed with him.
I just
I think it is.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
know.
go to a restaurant and eat chicken fingers. You
No.
go to a pub and you eat chicken fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I was at Teatro and had their famous chicken.
Exactly.
I guess he didn't spend a lot of time at pubs. Maybe that's all.
But I think chicken fingers is pub food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had cooked with some Marsala and it had this very sweet flavor to it.
Mm.
It was Serpone's Cremovo Marsala that Heather picked up.
Something like that.
So I took chicken breasts, sliced them up, and marinated in the Marsala. And then I made the breading that I make for a chicken parmesan. And so instead of breadcrumbs, I use oats and
Right.
some Parmesan cheese. And then I just flour, eggs, roll it in that, fry it in the pan, bake it in the oven. Not much else to say.
Oh, you finish baking it in the oven. I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the crisp on the outside.
They crisp on the outside okay from that. I would say they're probably not as good the next day. So yeah.
I thought they turned out awesome. We put them
Yeah.
in the air fryer, so
Oh, cool.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't think any of us own such a fabulous machine as an air
No.
fryer. It sounds like you have all the gadgets. So
We just got one a couple of months ago now, so we're still using it a lot because it's new, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I love the Marsala flavor in
It
that
was really
chicken.
yummy. Mhm.
How long did you marinate it?
In the fridge for like a day, and then I popped it into the freezer, and so then I brought it out of the freezer and let it thaw in the Marsala, and then so it was in there for quite a long time, just because I was doing prep ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah, you could really taste it. I thought it was really yummy.
Maybe that's where the sweetness was coming from that I was.
That's exactly, it's this weird sweet thing. After we made this chicken, a couple months ago, I've been wanting to do some sort of chicken marinade with the Marsala. So yeah, it was
Did you
fun.
add salt to the marinade?
I put salt in the flour when I breaded the chicken.
What kind of oats did you use, or did you puree, like process them a little bit? They seemed really
They were just quick oat.
okay.
Oh, okay. Because quick oats are kind of ground up, right?
It's not the minute oat, which are a little bit finer ground, and the texture is a lot more, I want to say, like starchy.
Right.
But not the large flake, because that's what I buy. Yeah. Okay.
If you wanted, you
Gotcha.
could buy the large flake or the gluten-free ones and just pulse them, because I've done that before when I've cooked and made these gluten-free.
Something that happened, like that, it all stuck together. But in one of mine, there was this little pocket between the chicken and the coating, and I wanted to I should have. There was a little bit of cheese that had fallen off my burger. Sorry to give things away. What's coming up? And I should have stuck the cheese in there. There was that little pocket. I should have. I don't know. I thought about it and I didn't. It's a big regret of mine today. I should have tried that as well.
That would have been good.
I'm not saying they needed cheese and there was something wrong, but just where it made that perfect pocket to stuff something in. Just that one little piece of one of my, I should.
That sounds good.
Yeah. This is the problem, is we seem to never be satisfied. We're like, oh, that's really good. And then we could do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely delicious. My God. Yeah, I really missed all the food today when I was thinking about it, because I could have done round 2 today. It was so good.
Yeah, I could definitely do more of those chicken fingers. I wrote this down about them. It's like a granola bar, but it's a chicken finger. It's the type of granola bar that I want to take on a hike. That coating was so good, and there was like I said, that little sweetness in there.
And it seems like it's easy to make, right? If you can put that in the marinade and then just throw it in your freezer and then pull it out whenever you want to make some, that'll be fantastic.
And I have a really good tip for breading things, which I feel like Avery and Lena, because they're experienced and know how to cook, are probably going to say, yes, that is the best way, is you have to keep a wet hand and a dry hand so that your fingers don't get sticky. I didn't learn that until somewhat recently, and it's changed my life, and I will bread things a lot more now because it doesn't goop up on your fingers.
Yeah, I hate that feeling.
Yeah,
like awful. Yeah.
And it's amazing because this makes so many chicken fingers and you're breading so much, and it's normally I would be at the sink washing my hands like 10 times to make all the chicken fingers, whereas if you keep your hands separate, you don't end up in that horribly goopy
and under your nails
so that's my tip on if you're breading stuff, if you don't already know it. I was excited when I finally did learn that.
You also said something that a tip that should be done more often that I see that people don't do, but you said you season your flour, you put salt in flour. Some people don't do that, and it really bugs me. So
I like to put a lot of stuff in my flour.
No.
Actually, I put salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and mustard powder in my flour, because I like to season it. And sometimes I put like paprika and cumin and chili pepper in it. And it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I like it.
For other things you're talking about?
Oh,
or
yeah.
For the chicken fingers? Oh, okay.
Well, anything. Yeah. Season your flour before when you're breading stuff. Yeah. Cool. Sarah, tell us about your burger. It was not I'm going to put it out there that it was not a slider. That was like a burger.
No.
A full
size
burger.
Let's talk about this first.
At ATB, we make banking work for you. With expert and practical advice in everyday banking and investment planning expertise and management services with ATB Wealth, you can be confident that you're making smart choices when it comes to your money.
We have a history of doing what's right for our clients, especially when times are tough, because ATB was built to help Albertans.
For more information, visit atb.com. Okay, I made a Korean burger. I made a bulgogi burger. So if you guys have had Korean barbecue, I just wanted all those flavors inside a burger. You didn't think it was slider? I did make them smaller.
It was
No?
big.
I think the bun was kind of small, but the
Well,
patty was big.
they were thick patties though, weren't they? So anyway, I got the recipe for the burger from Once Upon a Chef. The recipe is called Korean style beef bulgogi burger. And so I did everything that he said for the ingredients, which was soy sauce, sesame oil, brown sugar, red pepper flakes, ground ginger, ground garlic, and then 80-20 ground beef that I got from Master Meats. It was chuck beef and green onions. And then they said to put like a slice of white bread to cut it up and to soak it and to put it into the mix. I didn't do that. I went for a 1/4 cup of panko crumbs and I doubled this recipe. So 1/4 cup for double of this recipe because I have a lot of frozen burger patties in my freezer now.
You can come over here and we'll enjoy them.
If you don't have enough freezer space, we can all help you out.
So traditionally, I would have wanted to use a slider bun, which I'm very used to buying, I guess, over the summer. But apparently, these grocery stores don't sell them outside of the summer. So that's why I shaped them the size that I shaped them. I was trying to get these slider buns, but I couldn't find any. So I got dinner rolls. And then cut them in half. So they were a little kind of short and small.
Well, you could have just made your own bun.
And
I know,
was
like,
funny.
what the heck?
Okay, right. So then I actually considered making green buns because I like making weird, but then my week was not working out for me. Onion and kimchi, I fried it up.
Okay.
And I sort of pressed the burger into it as I was cooking it. Okay, so I didn't do this on a grill. I did this on a griddle on my barbecue. And I pressed it in. Make sure your griddle is not too hot because otherwise the onions will burn. And then I flipped it over and I put, sorry guys, I know there are two schools of thoughts on cheese with burgers. Some people like the good cheese. I love Kraft cheese on a burger. I just think the best burgers have Kraft cheese on it. Threw that on and then I made a gochujang butter. So I took some gochujang paste and I mixed it in with the butter and then I put that on the buns and put that all together and that's what you guys ate.
Wow.
So again, I put these in the air fryer, but what I did was I took the cheese off before I did it.
Right.
And the layer of onions acted like almost like a perfect way to get that cheese off, and it was so good.
We added the cheese after.
Right.
But then I wrote down on my notes here green onions, and I didn't want to ruin your burger like everybody else did, so that was part of the green for St. Patrick's.
There.
Well, so
good stuff. Yes. It was in there. The Irish was in there.
They were delicious. I really enjoyed it. And I also thought it was a good bun to burger ratio. Like for me, more meat, less.
Yes.
So
I'm the same way.
on a burger. Sometimes you just get burgers and there's so much bun that it just encompasses like the whole burger and bread. So it was making the burger stand out more than the bun. So I liked it.
It was so beefy. Like I know that's a ridiculous thing to say about a beef burger. Like it had such a delicious beef flavor. Like all the other stuff didn't take from the beef as well. It just all complemented it. Like the onions and the beef. Like I do know that's a ridiculous thing to say about something that is beef, but the burger really like crisped through that it came out, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
I think it does, because sometimes you go to a restaurant and order a different burger and then all you taste are the things they add into the meat and not the meat itself. I 100% agree.
But it complemented it. It didn't take from the beefiness. I don't know what it is these days, but I'm craving beef. So it's time.
It's because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's like the universe is messing with you.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to Master Meats, who I went to visit, and they helped me pick out the best ground beef for burgers. And it is chuck burger. It's apparently supposed to be good because it not automatic, but it naturally has that 80-20 So 80% lean meat, 20% fatty meat.
Master Meats is awesome. They have a great selection, and it's just nice to go in there and see
Yeah,
everything.
and they're
It's-
really
Mhm.
helpful.
Yeah.
I will say I'm one of those people who likes real cheese. I don't like the
Right.
whatever you call that craft.
American cheese.
I
Plastic
was like,
cheese.
I know Sarah likes that cheese, and here she put it on my burger. It was still a really delicious burger, and I didn't like pull it off or anything, but I
Right.
would have loved like our actual real like sharp
Nice.
cheddar or something on there, but it's not my favorite cheese.
So that's a good question to go around. And so, okay, Heather likes the real stuff. I like the American cheese. What about you guys?
I think we're split here.
I like real cheese. Sorry. But I still ate it. I don't like detest it or anything, but I like
Yeah.
I grew up
Yeah.
on cheese slices, so I love them. I don't have them often here. I don't
Right.
know if we just ever let me buy them.
our friends moved and they
Yeah.
had a bunch in their fridge and we got them.
That cheese whiz, I do enjoy, but I don't have it often, so I really enjoyed it on the burger. I think like a barbecue burger with a slice of cheese on it is just ketchup on a bun is heaven.
Right.
Mm.
Erin, what about you?
I like the processed cheese and I like the real
Both, okay.
cheese. I'll take both, but what I liked in your burger, and I don't know if it was because the way I heated it up, but it turned into like a sauce on top of the burger.
Right,
Instead of it really being cheese, it was like a sauce that was like kind of dripping off my burger and
Mhm.
kind of into the burger too. I don't know. So I really liked the fake cheese on the burger.
I love how you call it fake and Sarah calls it American.
Well, the reason
I
the
don't know
reason
how
was-
much. It's mostly plastic, I think.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I think it's mostly milk.
It's mostly delicious.
My husband does not like that stuff on his burger. He doesn't understand why I don't put so I would for him.
I remember what I call the dark ages of our podcast before I was part of it, and it was just Avery, and he would interview people. And you asked that question a lot, didn't you? Because I remember a lot of like, especially like chef people, like cook, like the American cheese. It's people you wouldn't necessarily think. So.
Yeah, and I heard it's because of the way it stays on the burger.
Yeah.
And then kind of just sort of folds over the burger.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah, it does for sure.
Heather will give it that. It folds.
It looks nice. It like
Yeah.
stays on there. It's not greasy.
It tastes
No.
good.
Well, it's fine. I love the burger. Put
Awesome.
whatever cheese you want on it. I'm still gonna eat the burger that you make.
Yeah.
It's
I
still
loved
delicious.
the kimchi in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was like, wow. I really
But it was fried, so it wasn't very pungent.
no, but
I
it
wanted
was
to bring
that
pungency
flavor.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know how when I have a lettuce wrap and I put everything in a like from Korean barbecue into it, I wanted all those flavors in that burger, right? So that's why I added that little kimchi on and the onions
I
as
think
well.
we succeeded on that. That was great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Mhm.
That was fantastic.
Balance.
Yum.
Heather, what did you make?
Okay. So I made pakora. The recipe is called crispy mixed vegetable pakora, and I found it on a website called I Need to Eat. Need spelled KNEAD.
I need to
to
write
eat.
this down.
Yeah.
because
And we'll have the link. We'll post the links and everything. So pakora is one of my favorite, like if you're going to talk like a deep fried finger food snack, I love them. But I've never made them before and I wasn't really sure. There's so many different ways. There's so many different things you can put into them. I mean, sometimes there's meat, sometimes they're veg, sometimes so I kind of just had to close my eyes and pick pick a recipe because it was overwhilling almost. The variations and the different spices and the different ways you can. Anyway,
I think you picked a winner.
yeah.
This recipe is grated potato, chopped spinach, sliced onion, finely chopped chili pepper. I used jalapeno because that's what I happen to have, and cilantro. And Erin, I left the cilantro out of yours. I did yours first, then I added the
texted
cilantro
you,
in.
I love you.
Because as I was looking at everything and I was like, oh no, that looks like it's going to be a heavy hit of cilantro. And Erin's like one of those weird people who thinks it tastes terrible.
Like
Sad
so
about it. I'm sad about it. I always try it in hopes that it's not going to make me gag.
And then I didn't know if Lena and Avery were cilantro super taster people as well. And I was like, oh no, well, I'll just hope for the best.
Oh, we super like it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Phew.
And we're judging Erin right now, hard.
Yeah. Okay, so what you do is you take chickpea flour and you season it. So we're talking about seasoning flour. You season it with salt, chili powder, chaat masala, and coriander powder. The one thing I didn't have was coriander powder, and I couldn't find it when I went, and I was like, forget it. So it did not have the coriander powder, which maybe is a good thing anyways, right, Erin?
Oh, actually, I do like coriander powder. I can eat coriander. Yeah, it's just the leaf.
Just not the fresh stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mix that with just enough water. You kind of have to feel it out. You're getting it almost like a paste. They call it, in the recipe, they call it a batter, but you don't want it too thin or it's not going to actually, because vegetables have moisture, right? And once you put you have this big bowl of veggies, of potato and onion and spinach and whatever, and you put that in there and to this little bit of what looks kind of like a paste, I was like, oh no, is this even how does this work? It's not really a batter.
So interesting.
I used my hands and I just like kept mixing and mixing and mixing until it kind of because the vegetables have moisture, it kind of spreads it around a bit. It was a bit of an experiment at first because I thought this doesn't look like, I don't know how this is going to go, but it works. So then you're just taking like maybe 2 spoons, and do like get a little scoop, put it in your deep fry oil, and somehow it holds together, and just kind of flip it over and then pull it out. It's super quick. You just can't do a whole bunch at once because they'll stick together.
Right. So it's a lot of time standing over the pot.
Yeah.
And did you use coconut oil to fry it?
I did. You could taste that, right?
Such a good. Okay, are we even going into opinion? Because you have to talk about your chutney, so I'll
I'm thinking more about frying in coconut oil, though.
Okay, well, let me quickly go. I'll go through the chutney and then we can talk about all of it. This recipe in ineedtoeat.com has a yogurt with chopped chilies in it kind of dip. I mixed up a little bit of it and I was like, nah, I didn't really like it. So I scrapped that idea and I found a recipe on Serious Eats for mango chutney. So mango chutney, you can find, again, an overwhelming number of recipes and you just kind of have to pick one. And so I actually picked one that kind of went with what I happen to have because there's some variety and stuff. I had all the ingredients, so that's what I went with, which is red pepper flakes, onion, ginger, garlic, mango, sugar, white vinegar, garam masala. Am I saying that right? Or is it garam masala? Garam masala, salt, and mustard seeds, and raisins. And I knew that Sarah was not a fan.
She got me back with the raisins.
But I like raisins in chutney, and I just thought, you know what? They're big enough that she can avoid them.
And they were big enough that you could pick them out. So
yeah,
you got me back for the processed cheese.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Heather likes me more. That's why she took out the cilantro. She doesn't like.
No, I just didn't think you'd be able to pick it out. Whereas the raisins could be picked out.
You can't pick it
that
out.
That was the only thing.
True.
So there you go.
Okay, that was so amazing, Heather. I have to make it again, but I have one question. Do you think that you could make this in an air fryer or no way?
I've never used an air fryer. I have no idea.
Okay, what about you guys, Lena and Avery? You can.
They wouldn't have been the same.
Okay.
I loved the deep fry flavor.
Oh, so good.
Which balanced with vegetables, right? Like refreshing. So an air fryer it wouldn't have that flavor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It needs the oil flavor. And I didn't realize it was coconut oil, but it needed it.
But they were good reheated in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Now I don't know, Sarah. I wrote down chutney. My thing just goes raisins and a big exclamation mark because I loved them. And
yay!
I want to say mincemeat, pie. The filling, and it has green on it. I don't know. I loved it. I loved the chutney with it. We had a little bit of chutney left after them, and I just ate it by the spoonful. So
good. Yeah.
Yes. Delicious. They're just because I felt deep fried, but then I'm like, oh, there's vegetables. It's all balanced again.
Yeah.
That word. Yeah. Abe?
I thought they were like really nice, light and fluffy, which was really good. And then I'm not a huge fan of mango, so I wrote down it's finally a way that I can tolerate mango with the chutney. And it's not that the chutney was bad. I just don't like mango that much. But I had like mostly the raisins, and the flavor in there was really good. So
It was amazing, yeah.
So good. I couldn't believe how fast they disappeared. Like
Just you yourself.
Oh yeah. It all went into the fridge, and I told everyone, don't touch that. It's work food. And I think I started heating everything up at 10:30 this morning because I was just so damn excited for lunch. So I just started snacking on it through the day, and like I heated up a few and then ate them, and then I heated up a few more and then I ate them, and then they were gone, and I was really sad. But I loved that mango chutney with the flavors in there. I don't know. Everything all together was just, thank you so much for leaving the cilantro out. I probably would have suffered through a couple. Maybe I can turn it off or
turn the gene off.
It hasn't worked yet, but I'll still always try. Although I choose not to if I don't have to. But so it was really, really.
I don't think that you need the cilantro in there. I love cilantro in anything. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to put that in. But I think it's just as good without the cilantro, if that's not your thing, right?
I think also you could make it with peach, since you're not a fan of mango.
You're right about the chutney. I think it could be anything. It's like kind of like sweet. A salsa.
Yeah,
right?
Like a salsa, yeah.
Although you got Avery to eat mango and spinach, which I've been trying most of my marriage.
Nice. Well, you couldn't really, I bet if you tried, you couldn't really pick the spinach. Like you couldn't say there's spinach in there. It was like, it kind of disappears into it, right?
But you could taste the coconut, which is what I love, because it was so subtle, but it was there. I loved that. That was like, oh, coconut oil. I should go get some coconut oil.
Yeah. You know what I like? I kind of discovered this recently when I did cannoli, because it was like, oh, I'm going to be deep frying all these pastries. And I hate that smell. And I have a gas stove and it ends up being kind of smoky. And like, I always find it really hard to keep the temperature right. But I had a big tub of the coconut oil that I had bought at Superstore, like the giant organic tub, because it was on sale. And I was like, oh, I'll grab that. And I found it was less smelly and easier to maintain the temperature in my pot on my stove.
Okay.
Like it just seemed to work. So I thought, I'm just going to do that again and hope it tastes okay with Pakora the way it did with the cannoli. It seemed to work. So I think that'll be my deep fry oil of choice.
And so was this easy to make then?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and also I doubled the recipe. It said something like 8 servings. And I was like, if that's like 1 each, like, 2 each or something. No, that's not enough. Yeah.
I did make one comment though. Lena makes a chicken with the mango chutney, and I told her this was wrong because it's 2 different dishes, and she's been on both podcasts forever.
Oh, so smart.
Let's go down the chicken too.
It was. I ate it with the chicken. I had the 3 together, the chicken and the pakora and the chutney all together.
Yeah.
And I had a leftover plant-based burger from my weekend, and I put the chutney on that as well, and it was delicious. Put it on everything.
Yeah. It was very good. Okay, and then, so all these savory foods, and then for dessert.
Yes.
So you guys made stuff from scratch. We stuck with our kind of like mess hall brand of packaged food.
Right.
Stuck with that. We thought about it, but we're like, because we did pie day, we made whoopie pie inspired, we'll say, because we cooked the cake in the cake pop maker, which is new for us to have. So I made a chocolate fudge Duncan Hines cake, and instead of the water and eggs, because we don't bake with eggs here too much,
okay,
we replaced it with Guinness. So I still put the oil in and the Guinness.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I've used soda water in a cake mix before.
Right.
It helps instead of the egg, or like it helps with the egg. So I'm playing around with that, and I thought Guinness might do the same thing. And I just eyeballed how much I thought. I think I used half a can, just like cake batter like.
Right.
And then we actually had leftover frosting from one of our podcasts. So just white frosting. That's what I think it was called white. Frosting, vanilla, white. And I'm like, I'm going for it. We mixed Bailey's.
Nice.
And
Yes.
I'm like, if I cut this cake pop, it's going to crumble. So Avery, you want to tell me how your idea or you can contribute
Yeah,
it?
so I thought if I put the frosting into my meat injector and then just injected the cake balls. Yeah, that's what we did. We used a meat injector just to inject it like a donut almost. So
That's so cool.
So now I
Brilliant.
was afraid of it not working out. So we made half cake pops and I made whoopie pies just in the oven in case it didn't work in the cake pop or in case the oven didn't work out. So we only had one fresh, like filled right from the cake pop maker. And I forgot to save some to try like the next day. And then I was like, so yeah, you guys will have to tell me if they got hard or just fell apart or whatever, because I worried about that.
They were so good. So good.
Oh, good.
What a genius idea.
Yeah.
I want to know how a cake pop maker works. Is it like
Yeah.
an oven?
No, it's like a
sandwich maker almost? Like
a George Foreman grill
Yeah.
almost.
Like a-
Oh, I
like-
see. Like a
like the
waffle
donut.
maker kind
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All half circles, and I scooped the cake mix in, and then put the lid on, and then
okay. Okay.
Oh, cool.
That's I want one now.
Yeah.
I really want one. How do you not make cake pops every single day? Like I would be making every kind I could think of.
Well, I've started doing TikTok videos because that's what every 40-year-old is doing. But I just like put stuff in the cake pop maker. So like I've done rice balls in there, and then I've done pierogies. Like I just put pierogies in there to see how they turn out.
What?
Oh, fun. What's your TikTok handle?
Just Mess Hall Podcast.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Let's all look it up. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So then tomorrow I think I'm going to do either beer bread or macaroni and cheese. So
I got it at Value Village. It's a President's Choice brand, and it's
Okay.
red, which has nothing to do with it, but it looked cute because it's red. So it was regularly $6, but I had a 50% off coupon, so it cost $3. So
What?
it's an investment on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
There were a lot of secondhand ones, so you might
Oh, okay.
use it a lot. But just so you know, like if you want one, look secondhand.
Who would give that up?
Somebody who knew
You know,
they had to.
New Year's Day resolutions. New Year's Day resolutions that don't work out.
We made cornbread in it one time as well. So
Mm.
cornbread balls, they were delicious.
Oh, I bet.
And I think summer will use it more because you don't have to turn on the oven.
So yeah, the dessert was so good. Really chocolatey. I totally tasted the Baileys. I'm not sure I tasted the Guinness. but
Oh, I did. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
noticed it.
it was so good. And
Maybe because it's that strong flavor that I don't like to drink in a glass, but I have now found the way that I like Guinness. Put it in chocolate cake. Oh my God, it was so good. So good.
so
Yeah.
yummy.
Recipes out there for Guinness cake, so
Oh.
like you can make it from scratch. That is doable. We just wanted to do it a mess hall way.
Mess hallway. Yeah.
But so smart too. What a
smart.
smart way to elevate or switch
yeah.
up a box of cake mix, right?
Mhm.
And you don't
You
have
don't
to
need to
tell
do it
anyone.
from scratch.
Oh, I made this
Yeah.
and I substituted this into my recipe. That's all you have to say. It sounds seamless.
I'm just curious about the eggs and Guinness substitution. So what does that do? I'm not a baker, so I don't know these things.
It's really hard to substitute eggs in a lot of baked goods. And it's something I really try to do because of allergies here.
Right.
Even though I wasn't baking for my son this time, but I know that the soda water, there's like carbonation in it and the bubbles will kind of help. What's the word I'm looking for?
Levitate?
Levitate?
Levitate.
Levitate. Yeah, levitate.
Levitate.
It's not floating above things.
It was close.
That's what the
Right.
Guinness.
You're cooking with something other than Guinness if you're levitating.
So I just thought Guinness might do the same.
I think that's brilliant.
Kind of dry with this soda water, so I kept the oil in this
Mhm.
time to see if that would make a difference, and I think it did because I made a vanilla cake with soda water a couple of weeks ago, and it just kind of, although it tasted good, it kind of crumbled. Or I made cupcakes and they kind of crumbled. So it's something I'm playing around with.
Right.
I got the recipe first to add a whole can of pop to a cake mix, and that was just way too sweet.
Yeah.
So I tried soda water and now Guinness. And we'll see what other carbonated a kombucha cake at some point. We'll see. Who knows?
So good. It was so good.
Yeah, I really liked the taste of the Guinness with the chocolate because it reminded me of dark chocolate, because dark chocolate's got that bitter little bit of undertone with the chocolate.
Right.
And so it just, I don't know, for me, it just made that chocolate chocolatier tasting, if that makes sense. I really liked that. And then it all held together well for me because it stayed in the fridge overnight and stuff. I wouldn't have known that you hadn't have used all the stuff you would use in a cake mix. It wasn't crumbly or anything.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no,
and
I
the
think that was
icing.
good.
Yeah. And when you had it all together,
yeah,
I just think it worked so well. There's a
So
reason
good.
there you can find recipes for a Guinness cake with Bailey's icing. It's because the combination is so good.
Yeah.
So tasty. I love
And
that.
so
It's
Irish.
perfect.
Yeah. The only thing I should have made the icing green.
Didn't take away from it. It was
No.
still great for St. Patty's Day.
and that'd be
So
easy.
good.
You could just
Awesome.
add in some green dye, and it would totally
Or laundry soap.
or laundry soap.
That's in my mind now.
Okay, so
We've got questions for you. We're putting you in the spotlight.
I have a couple.
would you guys be game to do that for us?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hold my hand. I'm nervous, Abe.
Okay. What is one thing you refuse to eat?
Mayo for me.
I just hate mango. I hate the look of it. I hate the taste of it. But I did have mango today because I wanted to. But usually I stick away from it. And really, one food that I will not try, and I'll try almost anything, chicken feet. I can't do chicken.
Chicken feet.
I don't think I'd want to eat chicken feet either.
Who would you say is your favorite celebrity chef?
Iron Chef France. From the old Iron Chef show. Yeah, like the original Iron Chef show. I'd love to meet him.
Huh.
Here
Cool.
I don't know. It's been so long since we had the Food Network that I'm actually just drawing a blank. We got rid of cable a while ago. But I mean, I kind of always liked Duff, the baker guy. But I just kind of liked his bald head. I thought he was cute. So it's not a cook reason. I'm sorry.
Who's more likely to cook spontaneously without any sort of planning?
Probably me. Lena seems to have a plan. When she goes in, I'll just see if Lena just says we have chicken, then I'll just make something with chicken. So
I'm obsessed with food, so that when I'm eating dinner on one day, I'm thinking, what am I going to eat tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah.
I have a plan. I'm already thinking, I'm eating lunch and thinking what I'm going to cook for, and I'm very driven by what my craving is. So I have, what am I craving? I can't plan too much in advance, but usually a day I'm I think I'll feel like chicken, and then I'll pull that out and go from there. So, and I don't know what Avery does. Avery and planning are not two words that you can come together in a sentence for anything. So.
Okay, what about a final meal? This could be you're on death row. This could be, I don't know. I don't want to presume how you end up choosing your final meal, but
probably I've killed Avery in a fit of Again, I go with what my craving is. So it's hard to say, because what would I be craving then?
Right.
And I want to say it would be something really deep fried, because often I'm put off by deep frying because I feel really bad and gross afterwards. I'm going to die anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel I'm not going to be even oh, my stomach's upset as I'm being electrocuted or.
Right.
That's the least of your worries.
I may as well not have to deal with having that greasy feeling if I'm going to die anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably Korean fried chicken is what I'd say today.
Oh yeah.
I have put some in this because I've thought about it a lot. I've been asked before. But my mom's homemade spaghetti, but she has to cook it the day before, so I can have the leftovers the next day with it the sauce sitting in with the spaghetti and then fried in the frying pan.
Oh.
And white bread with it as well. So
Yeah, because we often have whole week now, so we're
Uh-huh.
dying.
That's
Yeah,
so funny because you
exactly.
both are trained chefs, and that sounds like you just want your mom's home cooked memory,
Yeah.
not the fancy stuff.
The fancy stuff. I don't know. We went through that, and now but we don't eat actually so much processed food, even though that's what our podcast is. Don't tell our listeners. I think but homemade food, we're home chefs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Comfort food.
Yeah.
All right, because we just did the episode on Pie Day. If you're going to go for a dessert, is it pie or is it cake?
I'm very in the moment craving. I crave everything. I think cake. No pie. I don't know. I have a little piece of both. That is what I want. A little bit of both.
Okay, I think that's fair.
How I like to eat.
I'm going pie unless it's ice cream cake.
Oh.
Very specific. I've thought about this a lot. I feel like. Okay, so tomorrow comes and you can only pick food from one country that you have to eat for the rest of your life. Which country is it going to be? What cuisine is it going to be?
Probably Italy.
I'm gonna say, and it's gonna sound, I don't know, but I'm gonna say Canada because Canadian food is such a melding pot of other cultures.
That's cheating. That's cheating. Oh, I can't believe you. See?
Because I like everything from a clubhouse sandwich to like pasta or ginger beef, which is very Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go with Canadian food.
Ah, that is such a. I should have made. Okay, next time I ask that question, I'm gonna say, "Don't say Canadian."
What's funny on St. Patrick's Day though, I left and I'm like Italy, and I left, and then I'm like, oh, they don't eat a lot of potatoes, and potato is my favorite food. And I'm like, then is it Irish food? Like, I know if I don't eat one food, I'd choose potatoes, but.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Well, you should have picked Canadian because they have Italian and they have potatoes. Darn it.
We're all hungry again, and it's bedtime. Well, I think this wraps us up. That was really fun.
Thanks for having us. It was a blast. I feel like I'm talking to friends. Like you guys are so friendly.
You absolutely are. That's why.
When I talk about food.
So you're welcome to join us anytime. Come back.
We'll take you up on that one.
Yeah.
When do
4 weeks?
Do you want to tell the listeners when your new episodes come out usually?
Every 2 weeks, the MSL podcast comes out. So the next time will be on the 16th of March. And then I think it's
2 weeks after that.
Yeah. What's that, the 30th of March? So I have no idea what we're having coming up, but
after Pie Day.
Yeah, well, we have Pie Day coming out with you ladies on the 16th. I have no idea because I don't plan anything.
That's right. Maybe you should field this one, Lena.
Like breakfast pastries, we have snack cakes coming up, maybe Oreo stuff.
Nice.
So
a bunch of stuff.
Ooh, Oreo stuff.
Yeah, Oreo. I love Oreos.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just hungrier now in the end. Yeah.
I'm going to go get a cake pop maker, and we're going to make those cake
That's
pops.
right.
Village.
Yeah. It's a business expense, Heather. Put it in
Absolutely. And now for the fine print. We at Three Kitchens gratefully acknowledge we are telling these stories in the traditional territories of the Treaty 7 Nations in southern Alberta and the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. We honor the rich tradition of oral storytellers on this land who have come before us. You can find pictures and recipe links on Instagram and Facebook at Three Kitchens Podcast. If you like and subscribe on your podcast player, that helps more people find us.
Check out the Mess Hall Podcast.